Namaste, I'm Shashank and I welcome you to my channel, The Hindian Narrative. Today in this channel, I'll talk to you about a form of communication. One that you probably use every day, but you haven't quite seen it as a form of communication after all. I'm not talking about, talking, not speech. This form of communication is indeed old and sublime, not to mention extremely effective. The whole world enjoys it every day. And the first literature ever on this communication happened some 4,000 years ago in the Indian subcontinent. That communication is generally referred to as Daivakala or divine art, because that is how our ancient sages and saints communicated with the gods. We traditionally call it Samagana, and the whole world knows it better as music. And the world's first literature ever on music is our very own Sama Veda. The Sama Veda is the smallest of all the four Vedas with around 1875 verses. The present surviving recensions of Sama Veda, or its variations, are exactly three: the Jaiminiya, the Kautamiya and the Rahayaniya. While the main differences between the Rahayaniya and the Kautamiya shakas pertain to the order of the mantras, the Jaiminiya shaka has only 1693 mantras. Also, of all of them, in the Indian subcontinent, the most used is the Kautamiya shaka. A very surprising aspect of the Samaveda mantras is the fact that nearly all of them are taken from the Rig Veda itself. Therefore, its age can also be compared to that of the Rig Veda, which is believed to be more than 4,000 years old. However, some parts of it were added later on. The truth is that no one knows the exact date of the Vedas, and the dates provided anywhere are just educated guesses. Now, Samaveda has two parts predominantly. The first one is called Archikam, which is the ordering of the Rigvedic mantras into different chapters, based on the gods they address or the meter in which they were written. Both the mantras on the Vedic deity worship and also on important rituals are present in them. Using these mantras, our ancient sages invoked or communicated with Vedic gods like Agni, Indra, Rudra, Mitra, and etc. The second part is Gana, the musical element of the Veda. Here, the way in which the Archika mantras must be musically rendered has been explained. Ganas are divided based on the environment and the condition in which they must be used. They could range from household prayers, rituals, to quiet contemplation, and from elaborate yajnas to inward worship. There are various elements involved in chanting the mantras, like the correct pronunciation of a syllable, its duration, the stress that must be applied, and the continuation of the syllable. But the most important of them all is Swara. Swara is the accent of the syllable, or how the syllable must be colored. Well, today we have Sarigama Padani, the 7 swaras or the 7 ways to color a syllable. But in the Samavedic times, they were exactly 3. I'll give you an example. The Devanagari script has been used throughout the Veda, but for our convenience, I've used the normal decimal system. The numbers 1, 2 and 3 refer to Udatta, Swarita and Anudatta respectively. Udatta means the sound produced from above the palate, and it meant that the accent was high. Anudatta means that the sound produced from below the palate, and it meant that the accent was low. Swarita was generally the combination of the two and started with Udatta and then gradually moved into Anudatta. There were sometimes even unmarked syllables. Now, this becomes a Samagana. If you change the order and occurrence of the Udatta, Anudatta and Swarita Swara in the mantra, you get a different Gana. The 3 different shakas of the Samaveda, the Jaiminiya, Kautamiya and Rahayaniya, discussed previously, had this difference among them. Sometimes the same mantra was rendered in 3 different ways in the 3 different shakas. Care was taken to see that the arrangements of the swaras had a sense of flow to it. Generally, but not always, the ganas had to incorporate some sounds to ensure that the musical flow was not broken. They were called stoba and they resembled exclamation sounds like hi, hova, oi, he, etc. But they added nothing in meaning to the mantra. And based on this notation, the mantras were sung in yajnas or rituals or in silent, aloof contemplation. Just to give you an example of how Vedic, Sama Vedic mantras are sung, I'll sing one for you. Get ready. You're welcome. As you just heard, the music seemed accentuated by highs and lows throughout, and also with distinguishable drags in the duration of particular syllables. These chantings are holy and divine, no doubt, but also they sounded serious and not too diverse. That's because there are only three swaras: udatta, anudatta, and swarita. But as time progressed, these swaras increased from 3 to 4, 5, 6, and at 7 they finally settled there. It is said that the swaras are inspired by various aspects and parts of nature. Like for example, Sa from Sarigama Padani was inspired by the sound of a peacock, and the song of a cuckoo gave rise to Pa. Therefore, the system of swaras we use as we use today is much more open and all-encompassing, literally and metaphorically. A full study of Indian music will be made in another video. An interesting observation is that the Sama Veda and its system of musical rendition gave rise to another form of worship called the Nada Brahmopasana. It is believed to have originated in the Yoga Shastras or the Agamas. Nada Brahmopasana says that music is also a path to achieve oneness with the ultimate being, Brahman. We believe that the first ever primordial sound was the Pranava or Omkara. All the sounds, even the 7 swaras, emerged from it. So by understanding that Brahman is also the sound, Nada, we pray to that Brahman by giving shape to our devotion and our longing, using a song. Sama Veda has 2 of the 10 most important Upanishads of Hinduism, the Chandogya and the Kenopanishad. Well, Upanishads are books of deep philosophical thought in Hinduism, and their influence on Hinduism itself is very strong and very true. But that is also not the most important contribution of Sama Veda to Hinduism. Sama Veda was the first in Hinduism to take a defining step towards the concept of bhakti, devotion by bringing together emotions and the chants of mantras. Bhakti enabled the rise of the supreme emotion of loving God. The Hindu classical music had its roots in Samaveda and Samagana. It slowly evolved into 2 major divisions of Indian music, the Hindustani of the north and the Carnatic music of the South India. Though its roots are obviously in the Veda, the Hindustani music is visibly influenced by the Persian music brought into the Indian subcontinent by Muslim invasions. Also, the Hindu classical music played a very strong role in the Bhakti movement of the 9th century AD. Many great saints, reformers and poets like the Alvars, Nayanars, Kabir, Tulasidas and Mirabai and Appaya Dikshitar and many others completely changed the way we understand God. Using songs with poignant lyrics and powerful melodies, they brought the otherwise lofty and difficult concept of understanding God to the common folk. Their songs generally praised various forms and features of God and conveyed a deep love and longing to reach Him. The path of reaching God through devotion became an integral part of the lives of all people, and for many of us, it still is. The importance of music in today's world cannot be overstated. We all use it for communication, and we communicate many things: emotions, love, feelings, happiness, peace, longing, inspiration, pain, hatred, anger, and revolution. It is one of those few things that truly make us human, which is to not only understand, appreciate, and enjoy music, but also to create and use it as we want. We quite literally perceive the world through music. And the fact that our ancient sages and reformers used it to not only communicate with God, but also to communicate God, is simply remarkable. And since our music had its roots in Sama Veda, it is a little special among the four Vedas. Well, don't take my word for it. Just remember what Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita.